Hello, my friends, welcome back to Player Display. So here we have the Batman and Robin Bat Family with, of course, we got George Clooney's Batman, then we got Robin, then we got Batgirl. And you're probably wondering, we reviewed these guys eons ago, why are they back? In fact, so long ago, Batman has a brand new soft goods cape with them. Well, it's because I actually made a custom figure that I want to share with you today. And he is meant to be an extension of this family. No, it's not an Alfred, it's kind of my own thing, but I figured he'd be really cool to show off. I made him in a single night, because, Dark Knight and stuff. It's funny, I know, but it was such a cool figure to do and such a fun, novel idea, I had to make him as soon as I thought of the idea. So I got a whole bunch of figures together, got some pieces, got some fodder, got some cloth, and really that's how I begin a lot of customs. I just stare at the pile of stuff and try thinking about what this could all become. So I had a Batman Forever figure, which is spare from the Batman Forever wave, because I already had the one from the 6-pack, which is superior in basically every single way. And then I also had a Batwoman Beyond that I didn't really care for. She's one of the very first figures I got in Mcfarlane, but since then, never displayed her, never played around with her, but I like the head sculpt a lot. And then the last thing, I also was really digging the forearms on the Speed Metal Kid Flash. So I mashed those guys together. I did a kit bash, used a little bit of soft goods, used some fodder magic, then I got some paint going, and before you know it, I have a Schumacher-style Batman Beyond. So let's talk about him. Firstly, I'll come clean and be honest with you. I do not know a whole ton about the Batman Beyond universe. Of course, it was a show that ran in the 90s, and I think it got an offshoot comic run that's running, I think, right now, or maybe a few years ago. But ever since I was a kid, I was absolutely enamored with the classic Batman Beyond design. So I was looking at my figure fodder, I was thinking, what if Terry McGinnis continued in the Schumacher universe? Like if they made a Batman Unchained or Batman Triumphant or whatever the sequel is going to be called, and they brought in another Bat family member, but one from the TV shows. So I figured, let's smash some figures together and make that happen. So here we are. Now let's take this figure off the little turntable and go over the recipe. As I mentioned initially, this guy is made from quite a few figures, so first let's look through the base parts and see what he's made out of. The head is actually a female head sculpt. This is the Batwoman Beyond head, as I mentioned before. The only difference, aside from the paint, being that I ripped the hair out. But when you put it on the top of the Batman Forever base body and remove the Kilmer head, then you put the Batwoman Beyond head on there without the hair, it actually looks perfectly flush and even with the rest of the body over here. So I think the only other thing I did up here is I replaced the dumbbell joints. That is the Forever joint that's in there, but I think it could have gone either way. I believe they were the same height, but just to be sure that this head was a little bit higher, I wanted to be sure, so I stuck that in there. As for the rest of the parts, I could show you where the Batman Forever body begins. Batman Begins. Joke in there. Anyways, sorry. I drank a coffee, took a nap, and woke up, and I did this video, so I'm a little bit off. But the rest of this body, almost entirely, is Batman Forever. So, got here, got the main cowl, got the chest, got the abs, got the diaper, and then we got the legs. Now, for the arms, I had to get really creative. So I really wanted to incorporate the arms from the Speed Metal Kid Flash, because they have these really awesome translucent parts over here that I really loved. I wanted to include it on this Beyond design, because I feel like those arm bat fins, right? So I thought this would be really interesting for a futuristic 90s styled Batman. So what I did is I wanted to pop the arms on, but it wouldn't be so simple. I first figured, okay, it would be as easy as popping the arms out of the Kid Flash and then popping them into the Forever body. Not too simple, because the butterfly joints are actually incompatible. So what I actually wound up doing is I used warm water to pop out the shoulder of the Forever Batman and then pop off the bicep from Kid Flash. And then they were actually compatible, so it does still articulate, which is great. It's a little tight, but it's there. But it's really nice. You can even take them off, interestingly, because the pin on the Forever shoulder is shorter than the one we saw on the Kid Flash, which I find really interesting. And then the other last thing I wanted to do, because I wanted the option to have interchangeable hands, is I also popped out the wrist pegs and hands and replaced them with my very first ever Mcfarlane figure, which I almost never touch these days, so I decided why not. It was the glow-in-the-dark Batman Beyond. So that meant I could use a black joint, which is useful, so I don't have to worry about paint rub, so that's fantastic. And then also put on these clawed hands, and I even have these alternate gripping hands with batarangs. These came with the Batwoman, I think, but I figure we'll have more techie ones for the classic animated series Beyond, who I also do have, and then we'll use the standard Batarangs for this more Schumacherian style one over here. So yeah, that's pretty much the recipe, and as you can see here, I can pop off these hands whenever I want. I can also put in a Batarang holding hand. And I don't want to cause any paint rub. This guy's been dry for like 12 hours, but still want to be careful. And then, yeah, you can get the alternate hand in there, which is very, very cool. So anyways, let's just talk about, the last thing to talk about that's been done piece-wise, I suppose. So remember the jetpack that we used on Quash a while back? In fact, I have him right over here. Flip him around. Oh, I gotta pull up the hood. I gave him a jetpack, and I used a fodder piece. For the life of me, I don't remember what model kit that came from, but I had two of them, which had me really excited. That meant I had jetpacks for two different characters. Lo and behold, I used it again over here on this Batman Beyond to pin in this custom wing rig that I made myself. I literally used the exact same pointers I described in my cape tutorial, if you want to check that out. So that's how this was made. Made it from an old shirt. It was kind of red on the inside and then fading from red to black on the outside. So that's how it's got that color in between on the back, which I really love. And it's got bendy wire, which is really nice. I feel like the fold I made is a little bit too thin, so I try being very careful with these wings. So like I want to fold the tape back on itself if I ever need to, but it is there. You could of course use thread and needle if you wanted to, but I can't be bothered, so not happening for me. But it gets a little bit more exciting because this is actually another benefit of the Forever body. On the Forever body, you'll actually notice here that he has, for some reason, a peg hole in the very back, and a little bit of glue residue, but ignore that for now. So what I did over here is I actually went into the back of the jetpack, installed a little small bit of a Bandai sprue, glued it in, and now the wings are compatible with the back of this Batman Beyond, which is great. I love it a lot. So anyways, last thing to talk about here is the paints that I used. Everything here, except for the spray paint as a finisher, is acrylic. So I basically started out with filling in the reds. Now, the red is like a combination of a silver metallic and red, so I made a nice little mixture there. That's why it's a little bit glittery, which I kind of like. I was trying to think about that. This isn't just Batman, but he has like a very subtle force field going on around him. That's why he's so shiny. So that was my logic behind that. So I started from head, then went down to the feet. So I painted in the logo, these little notches that would have been otherwise holding in the Forever cape, which I of course removed. Painted in the lenses several times because I kept rubbing the paint off, so I had to fix that a number of times. And then throughout this Forever sonar suit, I painted in all the musculature and stuff to make it look like it was glowing. And I think I accomplished that very well. I really dig it. Then you got the gloss coat on top of that, and it really shines bright. It's gorgeous. It's really interesting. Also, it brought out details I never even noticed on the sonar suit, which I thought was even more exciting. Like, I never noticed the rib details over here, down here around the stomach, so I thought that was really interesting to do. I even articulated him a little further, so that way it continues up a little bit, so that's very nice. Did the six-pack down there. And then also these vents at the crotch. I don't know what's going on down there, Schumacher, but, you know, do you? And then also a few little pockets here at the legs. And then also these really nice designs that I did not notice before at the top of the boots. So I thought that would bring things together really nicely. And at the arms, I didn't have to do much of that red at all because it's already done with the translucent red that we got over there. The last color that I did, this was a really interesting color to make because I didn't just want to do straight black. I felt like that would be kind of boring. So I kind of mixed metallic red with a standard red with a silver and then some black. And I kept doing that over and over again until I got a color that I wanted. And this is perfect. I love what came about over here. I'll push in a little bit so you can see it a bit better. You notice it's not quite a pure black. It's not solid. There's a very slight metallic red tint to it. Not quite maroon, not quite black either. It's just on the fence, and I really dig that a lot. In a different world, I wish I could have made this pearlescent or iridescent instead of just straight up glossy. But I mean, for an action figure, it still looks pretty damn cool, so I'm really happy about it. So yeah, I had to go around the reds everywhere and pinpoint all the blue and cover it up with a really, really dark red. And I did that all the way down. Oh, I also painted in the belt. That's the only thing that I left virtually unpainted. It's minor. It's a little bit sloppy on closer inspection, but I painted over the gold bat with some red. Also painted in those little corners there, and I dig that a lot. Got a tad messy on the bag. I tried covering that up again. I didn't really bother, though, because, again, I'd have the wing rig anyways, so it's not a huge deal. Speaking of wing rig, I'm just going to put that back. The reason why there's a little bit of that white residue that came from the glue, it was still drying when I ported the wings in, but yeah, just got to plug it back in. You got a nice little jetpack, so I thought that was a pretty neat little modern update to this character design. Not going to go over articulation. I mean, if you know anything about the base bodies that I used in this figure, it's all the same. I mean, the biceps move fine despite the kit bashing. The head moves pretty good. I mean, if that's the one thing you're wondering about. Got the side to side. I think it can go straight out quite a bit, especially since you remove that hair. Yeah, so that's really good too. And now we can also get him on a figure stand, which I have over to my left for some reason. That's not very efficient. But yeah, clamp that on there, and then you can get the feet moving around a bit. And we also have, of course, Batwoman also came with the fire effects, which we can plug onto the bottom of his feet. I don't know how much it makes sense to these boots, because they don't really have fuel exhaust on the bottom of them, but whatever. You gotta make a few sacrifices when making a custom. I guess if I really wanted to, I could have tried doing a foot swap, but it's not that important to me. So let's get these thruster effects on there and get this guy flying over the skies of Gotham in the future. It was Gotham, right? Yeah, I don't think Bruce Wayne moved at any point, but pop out there, and there he is, looking really, really awesome. So I did actually already take some shots of this guy. I will show those to you at the very end of this video. I also posted them on my Facebook, and also to a custom Mcfarlane figures page, which I really enjoyed doing, and people seem to really like it, so that makes me happy. People like my work. So, yeah, that is pretty much it for the showcase. Not a whole lot else to talk about here. Just wanted to show them off, and again, the whole reason why I do these showcases at all. It's not just say, oh, I'm so good at customizing, because really I'm not. I just have ideas, I put them together and see how they go. I think the really important thing here is the method as to how I put this guy together. Again, before I built this guy, I had no idea I'd be building a Schumacher-inspired Batman Beyond. I just knew that I had an extra Beyond figure, an extra Forever figure, and a few others there that helps to complement this guy. And then I just stared at them on a table for like a good several minutes. I'm like, well, if I put this arm onto that guy, and then I did this paint scheme, and I used the head, but I pulled off that part, and then I could also build the wings, and just kind of naturally came together in my head before I built it. So that's what I recommend to you. If you've never customized a figure before or never made your own character, just lay out figures you don't really care about or aren't particularly valuable out on a desk or a table or whatever. Look over them, notice certain themes, patterns. Don't worry about color too much, because you can always repaint, as long as you got some acrylics at your side. And then once you got a good idea, just go for it. Bite the bullet, see how it comes out. This is a totally random, fan-inspired design. And yeah, I dig this guy a lot. He's one of my favorite customs I've ever done. And I did him in a night, so that's pretty special. But anyways, I also have another big review to do today, so I'm going to conclude here. But anyways, here come some shots. And with all that being said, if you enjoyed, then please, as per usual, be sure to like, comment,
ring the bell to be notified of our latest arrivals, and subscribe. Yeah, hi, Mechabug here. If you want to see more from Pod Guy, then please be sure to check out the Pod Plays channel down in the description for some Let's Plays. And if you want to support the channel a bit too, you also got the Pod Patreon, which is down in the description as well. See you around, folks!
Thank you guys very much for watching. Rock on, and I will see you all later.